12 Mike Oscar, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Good morning, dearest listeners, and welcome to the Calm Cockpit Podcast Monday Briefing. This is your short reset for pilot well-being and high performance. This mini episode is a new adventure for us. We made it just for you, and it's designed to fit into your real life. On reserve after long days, or really just to start your week off on that right foot, because pilots, you are already disciplined. What we sometimes need isn't more effort, but a few clear reminders, small nudges that help us stay steady, focused, and aligned with how we want to show up in the cockpit and in our everyday lives. I'm Geeta Brown, yoga and meditation educator with over 30 years of working with high performers, and I'm also a midlife student pilot. John Niehaus is my co-host extraordinaire, and he is off doing his pilot-y things today. He's a longtime flight instructor and a professional pilot. I am flying solo today, but John and I really wanted to start these Monday briefings to give you a boost. One simple idea, a little cheerleading, or a practical idea that you can apply immediately without adding a bunch of friction or extra work, because who needs extra work? Sometimes what we need is just a little support. I live in the northeast of the United States, and today we are in a deep freeze. And yes, we got even more snow this week. It is now officially above my head as I walk into the garage to get my car out. But we have a bright spot in our days this February. That is the Winter Olympics. And I feel like the Winter Olympics give us this really powerful moment to pause and reflect on how the world's best performers no longer rely on just the grind alone. These elite athletes are talking so much this Olympics about how they're pairing their physical training with mental performance skills, visualization, active recovery, and deliberate rest to help them stay sharp for the Olympics and over their careers as well. And that's really the same mindset that we've been talking all about in season 1 and now here in season 2 on the Calm Cockpit. We're training not just for the flight, but for longevity, for health, for consistency over time, and also maybe even to have some fun along the way. So this is a little bit of cheerleading, and I was really struck by an article, and that's why I wanted to record this for you guys. I was reading last week's Boston Globe. It was the January 31st edition, and there's a longtime sports writer, Tara Sullivan, and she was highlighting Olympic medalist and figure skater Gracie Gold. And Gracie Gold is now an Olympic mental health ambassador, and she has been super candid about her own mental health journey. She speaks openly about the trauma that can really be normalized in this elite performance culture. She's got this great memoir, and the title of it is all one word pushed together, and it's a synonymous with what her mind was telling her even as she was achieving an Olympic bronze medal. It's called Out of Shape, Worthless Loser. A memoir of figure skating, effing up, and figuring it out. And when she stepped onto center ice back in 2014, she was like America's sweetheart. She was like baking cookies with Taylor Swift on TV shows, and she was in Teen Vogue and People magazine, and she was just, everyone's golden girl. But behind the scenes, she had this self-destructive voice that she called out of shape, worthless loser. And eventually she did end up entering into treatment for anxiety disorder, eating disorder, and even some suicidal ideation. So it's that real classic story that we see all too often of that public persona rising to Olympic greatness, but inside she was really falling apart. However, Ms. Gracie Gold came out through the other side of it, did all the self-reflection, did all the hard work. And now she is an International Olympic Committee mental health ambassador. And she's really using her story to help normalize talking about this stuff so that we don't have to go to those levels of really suffering, that we can catch these things earlier. As she says, I survived it, I grew from it, quote, and now I have a leadership role in it. And one of her reflections in this article in the Boston Globe really stopped me in my tracks, because she really dives into, does excellence have to come at the cost of mental health? But more importantly, why don't we all try to find a better way forward together? Her answers don't revolve around stepping away from the sport or stepping away from what you love or even lowering your standards. It's more about finding supports for yourself that really work and changing how we support high performers at an industry level so that success doesn't require any unnecessary suffering. And what's really cool is that the Olympic Committee themselves have taken this on board. This year's Olympics, they have designated, quote, calm zones for athletes. I believe there's one room that's a quiet room for yoga and meditation. They have another room where athletes can put on VR headsets and just completely tune out the outside world. They even have changed some of their dining rooms. So some of their dining rooms have no screens, only soft music playing, and a lot of plants and very calming, natural environment. So they've really stepped forward in this. Another level, they have, quote, welfare officers who are working in the Olympic Village so that athletes have that like neutral third party to go talk to when they're dealing with the stress and pressure of the Olympics and also the great fun and excitement that comes with it as well. So it's just really a sign that the culture is shifting. And I love this. I leapt off the couch when I was reading this article because I'm like, this relates to pilots totally. Because mental well-being is no longer like that side hustle for these high-performance industries. Industry leaders in sports now and in aviation are recognizing that our performance and our well-being are like partners. They're not opposites. They work together. And it's also showing that our individual choices really do matter. Someone like Gracie Gold is talking about it and is helping to nudge this conversation forward. Here on the Calm Cockpit podcast, we talk about this all the time. We had Jeffrey J.J. Madison came in season 1 and in season 2, and he shared about how he treats his flying as a 60-plus-year-old professional pilot like an athletic pursuit, prioritizing rest, nutrition, movement, and recovery. And his messaging was really mirroring that which I read from Gracie Gold and what the Olympic Committee is doing, that sustainable excellence requires this intentional care of the human beings who are performing these remarkable feats. So, as you watch the Winter Olympics, what are you into? Curling, downhill skiing, the luge? Take a moment to reflect. The rise and grind mentality will give us some results in the short term and is important sometimes for that short-term burst of activity. But it's far more powerful when we pair it with these mental performance training and healthy habits. I'd love to see a new paradigm emerge where skill, focus, and excellence result more as a side effect of a life that is well lived and well supported. And this comes down to the key takeaway for this first ever Monday briefing. I want to acknowledge you, dearest listener, by choosing to listen to this podcast, by prioritizing your rest, by getting those parts of self-care that feel good to you, whatever that is. And by engaging with these mental performance strategies, you are seen, you are heard, you are validated. Sometimes it will feel lonely. Sometimes it will feel like you are standing still in a stream that is rushing against you. Sometimes you will feel out of sync with people around you. But you are not alone. You are part of a group of high performers, aviators, and Olympic athletes who understand that our best performance lives in the context of our whole life. My invitation to you as you watch these super cool Olympians compete under pressure, reflect on your own approach to excellence. Notice where you're already doing things really well in this area and just keep doing more of that. The more you do these positive, healthy behaviors, the more your brain is primed to recognize those pathways as primary, and the more those not so helpful habits just fall away. The more we keep our positive habits on the front burner for ourselves and for our loved ones, the more they support us in our everyday lives. So I see you. You are validated. Keep going. We are all in this together. For now, these Monday briefings are going to drop every other week, kind of as a complement between our longer episodes, just to give you that little extra boost and some little extra ideas and techniques to focus on. In the meantime, a little preview of what's coming up next to help you in your efforts in these strategies. On February 18th, we are welcoming back Lachey Bacon. She is a former helicopter pilot in the military, and she is also the founder of the Mile High Health Club. She has some absolutely amazing fitness, nutrition, and health programs for pilots. And she also has a FAA Wings credit program on pilot health. She's going to join us on February 18th, where we do a super deep dive into pilot physical fitness. And she has so much great information to meet you wherever you are in your fitness journey there. Look for that on February 18th. And one last final thing, a little brief personal reflection. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know I have been slowly making my way through the private pilot curriculum at my own pace. And a special thanks to Nick Smith of Part-Time Pilot for this baseball cap I'm wearing. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'm wearing a vintage kind of blue style baseball cap with, I believe it's Mount Rainier on it, with a Cessna, of course, gliding effortlessly across. It's my go-to hat for working out, and I put it on when I'm studying for my first ever check ride. I have a mock oral check ride later this week, so dearest listeners, send me all of your good vibes, please, because you know that first time through a check ride can be a little intimidating, but also thrilling, and I'm putting all of my energy towards that. I see you. I believe in you. Keep on going. I hope you have yourselves a fantastic, amazing week that prioritizes yourself first, and everything else will flow from that place. And from myself and from John, thank you so much for being part of the Calm Cockpit. We really appreciate you. Have a fantastic week. Take good care. And until next time, fly smarter and stress less.